Welcome back to Threshold of Revelation. This is session 36, entitled On the Trail. Last session, the group did great in holding the madness in Amblevote, and after doing so, they spent some time relaxing or ripping their corporeal form into pieces and reconstituting it in a different species entirely, and also repairing a sword. I think was in there somewhere, and some book shenanigans. But yeah, the 3 days pass. All the things we discussed happen, and at about dawn of the fourth day, when the expected arrival of a craft from Penford was kind of hinted at, a airship is seen approaching. The airship in question, for those of you who are more like military minded and conglomerate kind of mentality, the ship is a scout class vessel. It is not a massive warship. It is not a ship that transports very heavily. It is simply a ship that's sent about to kind of transport an individual or a small amount of things. This is
We
not,
recognize it as conglomerate.
yes, absolutely. It is not what was expected, because it was expected trade would begin at this point, and there was a hope that a resurrection scroll would be present. When the ship docks, and it does so on the north side of the spire, only 3 individuals disembark. The 3 individuals in question, one appears to be an older gentleman, a very prominent looking conglomerate mage, probably classified in the magier and operator kind of caste of like the hierarchy. A cleric who you identify as being of a prominent station in the great church of Penford. And the third individual appears to be a just very strangely dressed individual. They appear to be wearing garb that is absolutely outside of what is normal or fashionable for the area and the region. And as I presume most of you are not very worldly, you really don't have an idea, like, you can't really place him on his attire. But he has kind of a dark complexion, features in line with somewhat of a noble birth, just a very handsome looking man in very bright and very lavish clothing. When the 3 disembark, they are met by the town's leadership, namely the. Sorry, my notes are being difficult and scattered. Why? Okay, there. Good. Namely the. Oh my god, why is his name? The guy who lives in the southernmost house, and also Andrew Kinnard, who you didn't meet for very long. Minister Orview. Thank you, fucking notes. And then also the guy you rescued, Master Forthwind, the guy who was inside of the place when you rescued him. Those are the 3 members of the leadership that meet them along with you and company. The cleric walks up to Minister Orview and says, "This was requested. It is sufficient. Do you have the recently dismissed individual?" "Yes, of course. I will take you there. I don't have much in the matter of business with those 2, I don't think. And great. I will show you the way." Minister Orview leaves, leaving you with Andrew Kinnard and Master Forthwind and the 2 individuals who disembarked the boat.
We're not familiar with Kinnard or Forthwind, are we?
Forthwind,
I know I've heard the name of Kinnard, but I don't think we've met them.
You've been through his his business, like, because you went down and up and through That was the underbelly of the space where you had the ladder with the elevator, the magical elevator. That underbelly place with the two guards inside the warehouse, the western side
Okay.
of Ceasefire. But Master Fourthwood was the dude you rescued from the still down in the library.
Right. Okay. How's he
Um,
doing? He's better.
yeah, it looks like,
Right.
color has returned to his face. He looks like he is chip, cheery, and yeah, seems to be kind of engaged. The two of them kind of focus their attentions towards the very brightly dressed man, leaving the mage kind of not talking to anybody and kind of standing on the outskirts of the conversation, not really talking to them. If you would like, you can make a history check. It does not have to be trained, but it's mainly just to recall if you would recognize the individual you're looking at, um, based on just descriptions you may have heard, or if you've maybe seen or met them.
What?
Bodhi is very in it regarding the conglomerate. And looks like
That's what I'm here for.
Silas surprisingly recognizes him as well. So this individual is the master of the conglomerate Air Force and military, recently appointed as such. And this is from Old Heistrick, not from Penford. The individual's name, as you know it, is Majir Rubin. And I'll get a picture here in a second for him.
So I'm sorry, that's the person that's dressed in funny clothes, or that's the
That's the
major.
conglomerate Majir.
Okay, Reuben.
Rubyn. Okay. So again, he just looks like he's paying attention to the conversation going on between the two merchant lords and the strangely dressed individual. It seems that they are talking about business. So, again, table is yours if you want to pay attention to any of the conversations here, or not.
Guess I'll greet Ruben. Feel kind of obligated if I'm the one that recognizes him.
Says, yes, you are Decalus's operators in the field. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Bodhisattva. Forgive me. I'm not quite recognizable these days.
Oh, no issue. It's a pleasure to see members of the conglomerate out here, far afield. I'm assuming that the libraries below were in some way tainted or engaged with by interlopers.
Yes, we haven't quite pieced together who's at fault here. We did find evidence of some kind of control mechanism that was used upon a creature seemed to have been made of the magical ink.
You mean an enchantment? Some sort of...
So to speak. There was out of character. We actually found a piece of
Yeah, you have it.
Was it the black iron?
Yep, inside of the ink thing that blew up, and also I think someone took the ink crown after it dropped off of somebody's head.
Yeah, we've got one of those. We don't know who's responsible, but we believe we see how it was done, or at least we can infer how it was done.
Well, if the library is still in order, I will investigate it. That is my purpose here, to ensure that conglomerate holdings are still kept. We are currently having a bit of a problem to the west and are dealing with it. So any resources we can find below would be beneficial. He pulls out a book and starts kind of taking notes as you kind of just seemingly it's almost rude in a way, but it doesn't seem like he intended it. It's just he kind of pulls out the book and starts penning notes.
As I understand it, Minister Torview?
Orview, yeah. Me
Orview.
too. I couldn't remember his name either.
Orview, I'm sure, has no problem with your investigation. I don't know what books were damaged or what survived. There were many on the lower level that were kept in some kind of anti-magic cage.
I am aware. You see him
That I don't believe those were harmed at all.
You see him kind of fiddle with a chain on his belt or on his jacket, and kind of lift a orb up to like about his chest level and look down into it, and then kind of let it just drop. And he says, "Yes, it shouldn't be a problem. I do have a mechanism for dispelling that. Not a problem. But you said there was some sort of control." He kind of holds the book up again and kind of starts writing. Can you tell me everything you know about it? And if you do, he does listen and just kind of jot.
Yeah, I'll explain. They were using the Ichor soaked crowns. There was a similar piece of metal that was embedded within the creature.
At the end of which he says, I believe that would be the crown of Chandra Nikto. Very interesting that they would employ that method. Well, the book, was it destroyed?
Yes, we saw to that.
Good. It being released from the anti-magic cage would be, if it were to get very far, could prove problematic. Very good. And I believe you are also the group that engaged with the curator back in Old Heidrick. Is that true? You were charged.
Yeah, somebody chime in.
Charged with marking objects of importance.
Not me, right?
For recovery.
You weren't with us then, no.
Do want to make sure you are aware. Your labors have not gone unnoticed, and I am capable at this time to reward you for your endeavors. He reaches into his pocket, and you can actually see like his hand vanish, so you know that the pocket seems to be like an extra dimensional space. And he pulls out a bag which kind of comes out of the pocket with a bit of a kind of like a pull, like there's a bit of a spreading of the pocket, like it's not supposed to have fit in there, and then it just came out. And then he hands the bag over to you.
I got a Looney Tunes jacket myself.
The coin should do you good, but the rings will probably work more substantially for you. There are 3 of them. And yes, thank you very much for the efforts that you've made. Continue forthwith. And hopefully I'm able to salvage something of use down there.
Can you remind me what the name of the guy from Ionis who was in Renard's Run? Willadine. We had some intelligence that Willadine had traveled as far as Renard's Run but a few days ago. We unfortunately took some time to recover. We can't guarantee he's still there. Being the military-minded individual, how would you recommend we proceed?
He says, I'm not familiar with the name. Is he related to Deucalius's efforts?
Yes. We believe he's
he kind of raised his hand, and I apologize. Please, do not tell me anymore. This matter is being handled in a very respectful way through allegiance with Penford and the Penford nobility. If I were to grant any assistance whatsoever, it would be a breach of our Mazier law, and a spindle back down into the problems we were embroiled in well before, politically. I do appreciate you coming to me for guidance and intelligence, but unfortunately, the matters of the current civil war in the Ionian Plains are a matter that's beyond my ability to assist with.
Understandable. In a matter unrelated to the war, there was the Tower of Swordbreak. Unfortunately, we're responsible for its reappearance. A conglomerate wizard is headed in that direction to hopefully rectify public relations in the town.
It was relayed to the War Council by one Alazar that the matter was very sensitive. Sensitive matter indeed. We are definitely bound to the agreements of those who came before us. And from what I understand, there is a decent amount of lore within that tower that would be beneficial, at least in so saying, for our starter colleges. We would really hate to lose it. The connections have already been pulled from it. The tower will remain in its limbo state until such a time as Alizar is ready to recover it. And we will have to do so, of course, discreetly, quietly.
I understand. I just wanted to make it clear I take full responsibility. It was my mistake.
It is not a problem. You are currently engaged in a very sensitive matter indeed, as we've already mentioned. And, of course, you have not been given all the intelligence such one in your position would consider useful. And I do apologize, Master Bodhi, but that is for a purpose as well. The more embroiled in the conglomerate you and yours become, the more we have to withdraw you from these efforts.
Understood.
That's the character. Didn't we throw all the books that weren't in a cage down below into the tower?
Yeah.
Uther sure.
I don't know.
You sure threw some effort behind it.
They were just basic conglomerate recordings, though.
They're safe.
It was
though.
nothing special.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought I remember us throwing something in there, but I wasn't 100%.
Yeah. It was nothing that he would be coming to seek out. It's the stuff that he's probably seeking that would be helpful in the war effort is probably behind the cages.
Gotcha. Okay.
The conversation, for those of you who aren't paying attention to Ruben and such, the conversation going on between the 2 and the 1 is slowly kind of becoming a bit more tense. And the brightly dressed individual says, I understand. So, I keep asking you and you keep avoiding. When will production resume? We can't say for certain, as we currently have it capped. The individuals who assisted us in defeating the matter left us with a decent amount of ink in the well, but for us to tap the reservoir would be problematic. And so you say, and you have said for the last few moments here, to be sure, you will not be ready anytime soon. Is that a fair assessment? Master Kinnard says, yeah, that's fair. We can give you what we have now, but it doesn't look like you have a craft that would be able to carry it. You're right. I did not come prepared for immediate trade. I did come with a matter of feeding those who were here. We were told that the place was completely evacuated, and that the individuals who were in this place were captured by the Aeonian riders, taken to be held in prison in Renard's Run. Master Kinnard says, that is what we assumed had happened. If word got to you from a different source, then I would take that more accurately than what we've had. We've been isolated from any news up until these brave individuals came to assist us. Fair. Absolutely fair. Well, once Master Ruben is done with his matter below, we will return on our ship. I will use Sending Stone to contact my parties in Penford and make sure that they send their boats forthwith. They will recover what you have, and they will deliver what you need. Please draw out a list that would be sufficient in trade for the materia that you have to exchange, and I will make sure that they bring it as quickly as they can. Thank you. Thank you so much. And they kind of, bow and are very respectful to this individual. And then he kind of looks over to your group and says, ah, yes, you are the conglomerate operators who saved Amphelvote. Is that right?
Yes.
Nix bows.
That's us.
Master Ruben, I don't know if exchanging rewards for those who've aided in one of my holdings would be considered problematic.
Don't be silly.
Master Reuben says, these ones are special and operate a little bit outside of what would be considered normal conglomerate law. If you wish to engage with them with a reward, you're free to do so. Very good. Well, for your efforts, he smiles and reaches into his robes and then pulls out a scroll and hands it over to whoever's closest. It seems like he doesn't care. He just kind of like...
Joseph, Spinat, take the scroll. He's a scroll boy. He's proven he can read.
When you kind of take the scroll and open it, you realize that it's not a magical scroll. It's just a bound page. Written upon it are a bunch of words in kind of High Janaran, Old Janaran. And he says, this document should give you a 50% discount at any merchant inside of Levidia. Display it, and they will take off the customary amount.
Thank you.
Yeah, coupon.
Coupon. Well, it's a writ. It's a writ of the guild. So
a limitless writ. 50% off
50%
everything
off
forever.
Everything, as long as it is a guild merchant. So before you start buying from somebody, or you start asking, because again, you'll see the symbol on the writ. Like there's a guild marker on it, which I haven't drawn yet. But a guild marker, if you find like a shop that has that kind of displayed outside, you'll know that this is one of the shops. Some shops operate outside of the guild, obviously, but the ones that don't, yeah, those will be the ones you'll want to shop at.
Yeah, conglomerate reward.
So,
Other guy mentioned some rings and coin.
yeah, you got a bag from Reuben. If you kind of pop
Okay, we'll check. We'll check it out later. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you just kind of pop that bad boy open and look inside, there are 3 conglomerate signet rings on the top, and then there's a pile of platinum coins underneath. About 50 of them. Exactly 50 of them.
Platinum. And any significance to a signet ring?
So this conglomerate signet ring, since ages past, and again, nobody's really been on the conglomerate team to acquire one, unless you've murdered one and taken it off of them, is a +1 ring of protection. It also has the benefit of allowing individuals to scry you directly if you need them to.
Oh, we'll divvy those up here in a minute.
They do require attunement.
Makes sense. Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm gonna give
The guy gave us a coupon.
the coupon, so to speak, to Bodhi for him to put that in his bag.
Oh, very well. 50% off coupon.
Reuben says nothing as he kind of just parts ways, kind of finishes whatever he was jotting down, slams his book shut, and then just starts kind of walking away. Just walks around like he owns the place. You see him kind of move into the center of Ambleville, where the large double doors and the lift is. But yeah, he disappears into the space, and then the merchant and the 2 others move about. Looks like they're heading towards the tavern and the Moose. If you check in on Gar, you will learn that the cleric did resurrect him, and he's back to life. And he appreciates.
Youth are good news.
He appreciates it.
Your friend Gar, he's gonna pull through.
He appreciates it.
That's really, really good news, guys.
He wanted to speak to you.
He wanted to speak to Uther specifically. I just want to let you know, I appreciate you saving my life, bringing me back.
I'm gonna hate you.
But go fuck yourself.
I hate you, your dog shit.
You'll never be one of us again.
Can I borrow that wand to fireballs?
Fires a 2-minute burst. Oh,
Place in mouth.
Nah, this is Uther's backup plan. Bodhi, I need you to follow me somewhere quiet. I'm
I
gonna
would not-
incinerate my body to get rid of these scars.
Oh, I'm not giving up that one for that.
There's a lot of scars.
It's a lot of body.
It's a lot more scars.
It's a lot of fireballs.
He's just gonna go like full on hamburger face.
Hell yeah.
You could just
I
shred into
am
my
annoying.
old body. You want to be a
Yeah,
satyr?
You can be a fawn.
That would be pretty funny.
Keep it in your back pocket. Think about it. All right. Did Orview or did we have any other business with like Blaze Hatchet or the Hermit, the other guys we spoke to here?
The hermit was Salazar. He was
That's right.
the mage. Yeah, he did that. And then Blaze Hatchet was just the rune dropper and had some ability to craft, but wasn't needed because Ezekiel was fine by it, doing his own thing. Yeah, at this point, if there's anything else you have business-wise in Amblevote, you can go ahead and engage in it. But if not, you can start making your way wherever you're heading. I will note, now that you have the 50% off coupon, and Gar is no longer dead, his general store is open to you, and he is a member of the guild. So, yeah, he will give you...
Uther, I know this might be a little difficult for you, but 50% off is quite a deal.
If you want to buy anything from him, he has everything that's in the player's handbook, with the exception of healing potions, because you already bought all of his stock.
And no rare items, right?
Right.
He was a blacksmith. He wouldn't have carried any more Atavian flowers or anything like that, right?
Unfortunately, no. Yeah, they don't have much in the way of ingredients, other than the cooking ingredients that were used in the...
How about oh shoot, what's it called? Residuum?
He doesn't have any of that. That was Master Blaze Hatchet, and he gave you what
Okay.
he had.
He gave us all of it.
Yeah.
We spent a good amount of Residuum, didn't we?
Yeah.
On Uther or Ezekiel, one of the two?
Ezekiel sword.
Okay.
That was my armor.
Armor,
And my
right.
my armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his armor. Yeah, both arms.
Okay, we still have some. I don't have any other business in Andlevote. Does anybody have a need to stay? Have an idea where to go next?
Anywhere there aren't more giant people.
We'll see, pal.
And preferably no more ink monsters. To squash
We'll
me.
see, pal.
I think they said that some of the people that were from here were being held captive and Reynolds Run.
Reynolds Run is not too far. Bridger has always been a goal. I think, what is the best way down from the mountain? Does that put us on the path
So
outside of Ionis?
We discussed it a little bit last time. We'll go into just like perfect depth here. There
Okay.
are a number of different paths down the mountain, so you could traverse down the mountain in any direction you want. If you were wanting to do so at the quickest method of just getting down the mountain, there's a dotted path on the back end, and there's a river on the right side of the mountain. Both of these function as roads. So remember, you can move a number of hexes per day, and that number is
3.
4, 28 miles per day. But if you're moving on a road, you can move 5. And if you are moving in terrain that you're not familiar with, you have it, so 2. But because you have Uther and this is a mountain, you're fine.
Or grasslands.
Well, we're not there. Yeah, you'll be fine.
We're
all the way through.
we're leaving Mountain 2 Grasslands,
You could literally
which
just,
is red.
You could literally just beeline it like this and be here at the end of the day.
Okay. Anybody vote for Bridger over Renard's Run, or do we go straight to Renard's Run? Or another option I haven't thought of.
I'm down
Any
for
one of you.
Renard's Run.
I want for Renard's Run.
I'd say Renard's Run because
Looking
one,
like Renard's
it's where Willadine was, so we might have some way of figuring out which way he went after that. And 2, if we say some more people have full vote, it will kind of boost our reputation a little bit, which should be nice. And 3, I'm pretty sure I
Reputation doesn't
remember Bridger being surrounded on either side with a pretty heavy military presence. And, we kind of are
That could be.
conglomerate.
And that's why we have the skeleton marker there. That would be the Ionian elite riders that were on the sides of the Bridger that you found out when you were kind of heading to Bridger, then opted not to, and went for sword break.
That does sound right.
Or rather, sorry, went for sword break, got knocked off of course because of a storm, and then ended up on a
on a sunken temple.
Marine.
My
Talked to
sword
some
still lays
guy
for
who
me.
gave me a worm, and that worm was a trick.
There's still a sword out there. With
My cursed sword is still out there.
Hilarious.
All right. Well, if no one opposes, I think we go to Renard's Run, yeah?
That's fine.
Okie dokie. We're rolling some D20s. We traveling?
I genuinely don't have notes as to why there's this boat token in the middle of everything.
I was gonna ask. Did my boat fall out of my pocket and tumble down the mountain?
I see
Is
what
it a
happened.
flying boat?
I see what happened. It shifted. No, it's supposed to be there. Sorry. It got shifted when I moved some things. It is a small kind of waypoint.
I like flying boat better.
Yeah. Well, there is a flying city that they've seen. They haven't been brought. The city's called Flat Flap. It's a bunch of goblins who have basically manufactured a means of moving rock and stone in the sky, and they fly that shit around. It does have a normal parking place of here, like right here, but from Amelvote you'd be able to see it in this clear
We
day,
keep missing them.
and it's not there. Yeah. I would say
They're 50% off.
yeah, if you are scanning for Flat Flap, you don't see it. It's not about. Okay, so straight shot at the because again it's early morning. If you have any purchases in the shop now that you have a discount, you can go ahead and make those. If not, and you're wanting to start your travel, we'll get right into it. Let me know what you want to do, folks. No purchases.
Who wants one of these signet rings?
I mean, I'm always
Anybody
grabbing my
have-
AC more.
That is fair.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, everybody wants them.
Definitely on the front line.
Yeah, frontliners get that. I don't ever want to need that.
And it was a ring of protection?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's give them to Jody, Brent,
It has a
Jeremy?
special.
Do you have space for attunement?
I don't think I do.
It has a special trait that allows the wearer to be scryed without resist. They cannot resist. By
So you can always be found, which is great.
well,
I don't believe I have anything attuned yet other than my goggles.
Take a ring. And the third one, if Jeremy can't make attunements happen, you're not exactly frontline, but you're
Yeah, I don't
tougher
know
than I am.
what all I was attuned to now.
goggles and
Boots,
don't require
goggles.
attunement, by the way,
What?
Jody. So you're tuned to nothing
Okay, I have nothing.
because that's what.
Hell,
you're
take
wearing,
3 rings,
right? Goggles
Jody.
at night.
Yeah, man. Do they stack?
No.
There's no way they do.
What's that? The rings? No.
Yeah.
If you're gaining a bonus,
If we gave all 3 to Jody.
yeah, if you're gaining a bonus from the same source, it doesn't stack. But if
It'll
you
be
had
so funny though.
Ring of Protection, Cloak of Protection, you're Gucci. Those will stack. Okay, so Ezekiel didn't get one.
No, I got one.
Ezekiel does.
Ezekiel
Jody
Cyrus,
does. We're
yeah.
trying to figure out who gets the third one.
Third one's in the ether. We'll just give it to the mage, just in case you. fuck
I'm willing
up.
to give it to the mage.
Don't defend them good.
I got no abilities just for that.
It's not like there's not 3 mages. And we
Is
all
it-
knew who you were talking about as the mage.
Right.
Kind of shitty.
+2 weapons don't take attunement, right?
They just show up and it's like immediately takes the slot. What'd you say? Sorry,
A +2 weapon that doesn't take an attunement
if
slot,
it's
does it?
just a +2 weapon. No, yeah, you can.
'Cause I thought I was full and I can't find the third thing.
Well, what do you?
I'm
got?
attuned to 4 things. 'Cause I'm
Spiders, slippers of spider climbing,
That requires
eyes of the eagle, and I don't know what the
Those
third one
require
is.
attunement.
Do you have that wand for traps? Or was that
Yeah.
attunement?
Doesn't take an attunement slot.
Wand of
Okay.
Secrets.
Yeah, because we were just passing back and forth because we realized it doesn't take it, and I took it back away from Bodhi because he only had it in the first place because I
I
thought I
kept
was at a
forgetting I
slot.
had it.
Yeah, that's right.
Didn't take one of the special daggers that required him, did you?
Oh yeah, one of the phantom daggers.
I have one, but I've never attuned to it.
Okay, then yeah, attune to the protection ring.
Yeah, all right, I'll take it until we find something else.
Oh my god.
Pyrohelix.
Manually put it in. That's so great. Soon it will be able
But
to.
I noticed there's a typo in there.
That's fine.
But
I'm over it.
Ooh-ja.
I'm over it. I already sold all the copies that'll probably ever sell. I'm sad about it. But anyway, focus.
I only got
Because
first
all
and
those
second level
typos.
in there. I just wanted to make sure it would go through. Like if I clicked it from what I put on there, I was trying to put it all in the correct way, but I've never done that before.
Fair. Yeah, you did great. So again, purchases are done. Items moved around. Straight for Renner's Run.
Okay, so Uther, Stylus, and Ezekiel have the rings.
Yep.
I am carrying the 50 platinum. I don't know when I last spent money, so I don't think we're gonna worry about that going to waste. And yes, we are just running down a mountain.
Okay. So I need 4 representatives of the party. I don't care who to roll d20.
Andy, Joseph, Chody, and Brent.
No
Not-
Wilders.
9.
Oh Jesus, fuck.
We got a 20!
We got a
I had to
20.
send it to you.
Uh-oh!
Let's see where it hits. Okay.
It was Chody's fault.
So day 1.
He
nothing
said we weren't
happens.
going to be fighting unless something really stupid happens. So
Day 1 is pretty much
Good
uneventful. You make it down the mountain, and from
You're
Emerald's
welcome.
base and down onto the lower lands, the mesa, without issue. I mean, it's definitely a fun climb for you, Uther, in that it's not really like a climb. It's easy for you to kind of navigate everybody through it. The paths here are very, very peak, kind of old Goliath like hunting trails, where they would hunt like mountain goats, mountain lions, other different kind of creatures that would be in and about this environment. So they're basically game trails that kind of move down the mountain. So for you, it's very kind of cool.
I hate it.
And on the second leg of it, you finalize the movement down. And I would like everybody to go ahead and make perception checks.
You're moving the animal token up. Where's my movie?
That's hilarious. Because I was on the map. I was on the map token when I did it. That's funny.
I got you.
Thank you.
Is it site based?
It is site based. Okay.
23.
So-
Riziko's got this.
As you kind of come down the path of it, and kind of make it into the hills, the hilllands. Uh-oh, what happened?
I'm back, sorry.
No. Yes.
It was me, my internet cut out.
Okay. So
I heard you, everybody needs to make us something,
We
and then
already
I
got it.
disconnected.
youth are super keen eyesights, so you
I'd
would-
like to add to the problem.
So youth are, as you're making your way down, you see
Perception check.
You
Come
see
on.
something that's kind of like in the mountains, but like just like over there. And as you're descending, you just keep on looking at it, trying to figure out like what this kind of strange kind of outcropping of rock that kind of creates this natural kind of platform really is. And you don't really come to like a conclusion that it's worth kind of even meriting until you've made it down to the hilllands and you see that there is a stone path from there that's very hard to see from a higher vantage point, but easier to see from a lower vantage point that goes up to that kind of stone natural balcony. And you see from there as well that there are a pair of arches, one at the bottom at the start of the steps and one at the top, that are very clearly Goliath markers, giant markers. This is
Just cry a little.
this is what you would know would be a pilgrimage site of religious importance for Goliaths, specifically worshiping the god Aguasay, or rather the power Aguasay. You can ignore the shrine, or you can investigate it. Investigating it will take
I
some
pointed
time.
it out.
Okay. Investigating it
But
will take some
Uther, it's your
time.
culture.
Sure, let's go check it out.
Let's super check it out.
We're gonna learn about your people.
Yeah, fair.
Tell you all you need to know, but whatever.
I put a string of ooze over his shoulder as we walk.
God, I hope that's an arm.
Me too, buddy. I haven't figured all this out.
So, when you make it to the top, and there really isn't a need for a battle map, if there does end up being one, I'll crack one out, but if you do take the time, it's about an hour's walk up, so this will cut into your travel time. It's a bit of a backtrack, if you will. But once you make it up to the top and through that second archway, the platform that you're looking at is worked stone in a radial pattern around a kind of center point, a very like noticeably flat and noticeably large round disc of stone that sets kind of like a dais, and on top of it a plinth, and on top of the plinth a statue of a very just kind of regal looking giant. It stands somewhere around only about 20 feet tall, and the area around this balcony kind of has this natural kind of canopy and also natural kind of like side walls to it. So it's kind of like recessed inside of the space, which is why it was hard to see on the descent. The statue itself does show indicators that people have left tithes at the base on the plinth.
Sadat, you're a learned man. Who could this be? This giant.
Do I need to make a history check? Is that what I'm doing?
So looking at it, it definitely doesn't seem like it's someone that you would know, kind of
Okay.
offhandedly. It seems to be someone of importance to whoever put this up. So, you kind of, if you've ever driven through a town and you see a statue of someone who's not like historically famous, it's like, who the fuck is that asshole? Just somebody who's locally important.
Town founder or something.
There's no town of note that you see.
No,
he built
in the
he
real
built
world.
this mountain.
But yeah, absolutely.
You said there are tithes around it?
Yeah, so it looks like there's a number of different kind of pieces of stone that have been left on the dais, and a couple like longer stones that look like they've been kind of leaned against the plinth. It does look like the plinth has giant markings on it, and from Ezekiel's sight and distance, you would actually recognize that there are runic markings as well. And when I say runic markings, I mean charged runic markings.
Oh, okay.
Like magic shit. Very
Yeah, point
ancient,
that out to the group.
giant magic. Okay.
Pull the runes over there.
Explode? Are we safe?
Can I tell what the runes do?
Should I leave a coin?
You would know that they, for runes to kind of be understood, they need to be spoken. As markers, they really just imbue the power of like the words that are within them. So to kind of figure out the power of these runic markings, you'd kind of have to activate them. It wouldn't be just kind of a knowledge-based trick, especially since I know you're not trained in Arcana.
I am.
Got you there.
It's unfortunately not helpful.
But you don't know the runes like he does.
Yeah, it's very just kind of different magic. Like there is cartography, which is or bibliography rather, which is what you kind of focus on in filling a book out with spells and learning from words. But that's very different because it's not dealing with the words having power. The words are basically prescribing the mathematics, if you will, of magic, whereas the runes themselves are filled with magic. You would know how to read them, and you could activate them as well if you'd like,
Anybody want me to activate them and see what happens?
I'd rather you didn't.
I was just gonna leave a coin with the other tithes, but it looks like all the other tithes are
Leave.
stones.
Leave your coin if you want to curse. Leave a stone if you're sorry for something.
The marker does state very clearly that in honor of the War of the Seven, here lies the ashes of Langdon. And then directly underneath that, almost as if it's like an honorific, are the runes.
I don't know any of this. I guess we move on. If anybody wants to mess with it, you're welcome to, but
Ezekiel and
I got nothing.
And Uther, and I think Nick could probably suss it out, but any one of you could read the runes, or you could tell someone how to. But you would know that reading the runes would basically be activating the power that's imbued within them, for good or for bad.
What do we know? I'm sorry.
It's not my place anymore.
What do we know about the War of the Seven?
If you're trained in history, you would know that it's a local situation that was a fight to free Levidia from Jernaris's conglomerate rule during I think it was the 3rd century of the current age. We're currently in the 10th century. Or rather, 11th century. Sorry, I'm bad at. It's the 0th century. That one's always dumb to me. The 400s.
So it was from the 3rd century, and we're currently in the 11th, right?
Yeah.
So just like out of character, it might be safe to assume that because Conglomerate weren't super popular at the time of the war, even though things might have changed some now, we might not want to mess with it.
I'll turn my back to it and start walking away.
Specifically designating him as a hero of the war, so that means that he's probably a local hero, a Levidian hero.
Mm-hmm.
I've got no vote.
Brent, I can see you, man. I can see you licking your lips.
Brett likes to
really
get shit.
I would do it. I can't help it.
Are you going
Can
to?
I walk? Can I step back?
Yeah, everybody can do whatever they want.
Way back.
I'll stand up there with him.
Oh, God. Because your slime will just absorb everything, right?
Yeah, that's what slimes
That's
do.
a theory.
Okay. If you stand there before the statue and speak the words, the magic starts to pulse, and a kind of magical wind starts to flow through you. To everyone else, it just looks like his hair is moving about, but to you, it feels like there's this just cascade of runic magic kind of moving through you and cutting into you. After a fashion, you can feel this kind of burning on the back of your left hand. And when you look to it, you can see that the runes that were on the statue's plinth are now engraved into your hands like your hand was stone. You would know at this point, so long as you are in this specific essence, because again, the magic of the world definitely has its limits when it comes to the Dance Eternal. You can enlarge yourself as a bonus action for 1 minute.
Neat. That's just Brett, right?
Does that stack with my Giant's Might that does the
So-
same thing?
I hope so.
When enlarged, you become large. So if your trait that you have says you become a size category larger, yes. If it says you become large, no. The wording is specific on this one. I'll get you the wording. And also, it's a short fuse or short rest fuse.
You said the magic is permanent so long as he does not lose his body.
Right.
And it recharges after a short rest.
Shorter or long, yeah.
So, the wording for that one also says that I become large.
Then large is as high as you can get.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but you can get more bigger, like, more often. You know?
I can now do it with that one. I can do it 4
Ezekiel
times
Big
a day.
Dog Woof Woof. Right on. That was the 3. Let's go find out what the 20 was.
Okay. There's that. Go ahead and add that to your sheet. It's basically the enlarged feature from Dwergar. Okay, great. And so, as I said, it was a backtrack to go up and advance on the shrine. I will put the shrine marker there. Sanat, you would know that the magic that came off of the plinth, it is permanently based on the plinth. However, it exhausted itself. You know that there's basically a refractory period for it to refresh. And based on what you're able to tell in the arcane here, it will be 1 moon, 1 month, 30 days before it refreshes here. So if you end up back in this region in 30 days, you could either, since Ezekiel's more than likely going to die in 30 days, you could give him the power again, or
He's an old dog.
Mark your calendar.
He's already like 13. Hips are giving out. Everybody just looks at him. Sorry.
Yeah, because 13 and dog is like 70, right?
It's up there. And he's a big dog, so
It's
it's
actually
like-
17.
He likes to live his life great dangerously.
We were all having a good time.
Come on.
It was pretty good. I'll give,
That was a rough joke.
I'll
Good.
give you a nod.
A rough joke. He gave me a nod, thanks.
Just a nod.
Crowd's
No
tough.
inspiration, though. Okay, so because you backtracked up the shrine, the movement will actually be limited. So the last roll that you made will be the first roll for travel on the next day, the 17, I mean. So towards the end of the day, as you travel into the hills, I'll go ahead and make that move. I need everyone to once again make perception checks, and it is sight-based. That is
26.
true.
I could probably beat that. Hang on. Alright. Here I go. My eyes were closed.
I don't see Bodhi's
I accidentally put my
Hey,
eyes under my
Your
feet.
rolls are not showing up.
Really?
No,
To
no, I
GM.
don't see
John, what the hell?
So yeah, I preset it for that. So that when
I rolled a
share-
0. A net 0.
Wait, what kind of roll are we doing? Perception. That's
How do I
good.
fix this?
You get better
Look at me and
perception.
Snot, both rolling 9s. Team us, let's go.
Whisper. Okay. Never whisper rolls.
Yep.
I'm sticking with that 0 because I'm real proud of it. I just want to test, make sure it's working.
That's what you should.
Hey! Holy
go!
shit,
Got it
boys, look at
So
that.
with that 26, as you're making your way into the hills, you do see that there is a nearby what looks like kind of wreckage or ruin. It's close enough to the path that you feel like you're being funneled into that you're kind of aware that you don't really have a choice but to pass near it. And with that perception check, you could see that it is occupied. It appears that there are beasts inside of that space. More specifically, there are... Roll D100.
Jeremy!
18.
Wow. Okay. There are
Was that going to be up to 100 things there?
displacer beasts kind of lurking about in that space. You can see them from a distance.
So there's 6 of them in there.
Never mind. I'm not gonna say.
We should probably avoid that as I point at it.
Well, you're pretty sure that they'll probably catch your scent as you move near it, and will probably stop you.
Avoid what?
What are you talking about?
As soon as I spot them, I'll go ahead and cast Pass Without Trace on the group.
Okay. So you're trying to move past the ruins stealth.
They already smell us.
Is that fair?
They won't be able to track us unless through magical means.
Right.
Oh.
Again, if they do manage to kind of see you, they can see you. So you're going to try and move past the ruins stealthily. Is that a fair assessment, Jeremy?
I think so.
Okay.
Does
So
the party agree?
I think that's a good idea.
that's a fair way. We'll change the encounter to skill challenge. More than fair. So as you're kind of first making your way
We're
to
good at these.
what you would feel would be the most troublesome point to fail, the ambush point, like the worst area you could be, I'd like everybody to go ahead and make a stealth check, or you can propose a different skill check in this area if you think it would be beneficial to you hiding and moving at the same time. I can't think of many skills besides, but if you can think of a skill that you think would be like, let me give it a go, then absolutely. The layout is it's ruins and rocky hills.
Just throwing this out here, since I have survival, would I be able to find anything that could kind of mask me a little bit?
So yeah, if you'd like, you can use a survival check. It won't help you with becoming invisible. What it will do is the next person who rolls stealth will have advantage. For a skill challenge, it's not about you making a stealth check. It's not an individualistic thing. You're doing this as a group. So I need at least for this one, because this is the hard portion of it, I need, again, it's the ambush point, 4 successes out of 6 attempts.
So, who is the least stealthy among us?
And keep in mind, you have
Probably
plus
ridiculous.
10 because of Pass Without a Trace for this
Right.
first section. As we move into the next section, you're going to lose Pass Without a Trace because timing. Because it lasts for how long? 10 minutes?
A while. Hold on. I'll put it in.
Yeah.
No, it's longer than 10 minutes. It's like
If
hours.
it's an hour, then you're fine. You're fine across the board. It's going to stay with you the whole gamut.
So, we don't need to roll?
Up to an hour.
No. You do need to roll. It's just you're going to be very, very skillful in the
I'll roll a
checks.
stealth check because I can't think of a better.
So
Well,
I
hold
can
on, hold
cast greater
Okay.
invisibility on myself, and I'm going to touch. No. Ezekiel?
This is
Make
this is a durational thing that's lasting a long amount of time. You're moving through a very large portion of track. Casting greater invisibility on yourself will last for 1 minute.
No, it will not.
Greater
It will. Oh, it is
invisibility
actually.
1
Sorry,
minute.
it is 1 minute. Oh, fudge.
So you probably don't want to cast any spells that are like not long durational. So don't worry about that. Pass that.
Oh,
is super.
What about regular invisibility? I could touch Ezekiel.
If you want to burn spell slots, you're absolutely, I'm more than happy to let
That's
you.
how we just do it for stealth. The Pass Without a Trace way.
All right, fine.
If you want to, you
fine,
can
fine.
though. I'm not
Nope,
saying
if
don't.
he wants to roll, that's fine.
We
Like,
did.
could people seek out like things to camouflage our scent with?
So again, for the skill challenge, let me just make sure everybody understands it. You can make 1 skill check during this first segment. Depending on what you do, like you can choose any skill you want. I need a total of 4 stealth successes.
I'm on it.
If you choose a different skill, I'm going to tell you whether it's a stealth or
God
a
damn.
supplemental.
So a 31 plus 10, great.
Gee whiz.
22, 25, 13, 25. We've already got the successes under.
What did you get a 31?
You didn't say 41, John.
I didn't have to.
Say the 41.
You know he
41.
wants you to.
He's no longer on the mountain.
So actually, no, sorry. The 3 successes, 13 was not a success. So yeah, you did need the 41. Sorry. So with those first 5 rolls, with Silas not, if
Did
you
I put those
if you wanted to put
bagpipes
the
away?
aid- Yeah, if you wanted to put the aid towards somebody, you could have. The survival, choosing that as your skill, just grants a benefit for someone else.
Yeah, but we didn't need to.
Didn't need to. So the second segment of this skill challenge is a situation where you are downwind. This is not a tracking situation. It is detection through a means, but you are downwind of the ruins. Basically, the wind blows against the mountain. It's blowing back from where you are, and it's heading into the ruins. So at this point, you'll be making a stealth check. You still have plus 10 to your stealth checks, and they cannot track you by your footprints or what have you. If they catch wind of you, though, they will make their way to you. This one's easier in that it's less successes, and it's harder in that it's a higher DC. So, I would like for everybody to go ahead and you can choose to take stealth, or you can use another skill. If you think about like how you want to engage with it, that would help you in the situation I've described. You're moving through craggy hills. You're moving downwind of a ruins where displacer beasts are located.
You mean upwind? Because our scent is blowing down into them?
So I thought downwind is when the wind's going towards them. I don't know. The wind is going...
Either way, I get what you're doing. We're in Danger Town. Got it.
Your smell is coming to them. Basically, if they catch wind of it, they're going to float over to you, like, because that's how it works. Like, when I smell things I like, I start floating towards the food. We're doing great.
I guess I'll sneak past the lines. Yes! Yes, I beat those two! You're there, Alpha!
Oh, I picked the wrong one. Sorry. So my roll was a 14, and the 14 plus 6 is 20.
Okay.
So with, yeah.
I need Silas to make a roll of stealth. Nick's roll sleight of hand. Do you have stealth trained as well?
I do.
Okay, then that's fine. Okay.
My cooking pot made noise.
No, actually, stealth is not trained, but it's a plus 6.
Okay.
So that would not give me my...
You're still sufficient. That's a 30.
Okay.
And 38 from Uther. 13, 14, 14, unfortunately, are not successes. And then also the other 13. So what that means is you failed this round of the skill challenge. That does not mean immediate demise. Now the situation is as follows. You're moving through the hills, and you come to a point where there's a large ridge, kind of where the ruins are located, like down from the ruins. And you have to make your way through that to get down the hills. However, you are aware that the displacer beasts have moved to that ridge and are now looking down into where you're heading. So you can continue to make stealth checks, but you are in a tight, narrow kind of almost like a ravine with some bends that kind of go up here and there. But yeah, this will be the last round of the skill challenge. Success means you'll make it through safely. Failure means you will be attacked. Due to the failure of the last one and their heightened position, you'll be making the skill challenge at detriment, which means that it'll be the harder DC for difficulty, and I need 4 successes. Keep in mind, you can use so far as to say survival to grant advantage to somebody else. If you want to say I don't roll and just give somebody else a benefit, that can work. Or if you can think of any other skills that you have that might prove useful in this situation. And again, if you come up with an interesting enough kind of explanation as to what you're doing, then we can definitely work with that. See what happens.
May I try deception with prestidigitation to cause a distraction as we move?
Absolutely. So what that will do is very similarly to Silas's survival, kind of looking out for the specific areas, you will be able to use that specific skill to grant someone advantage. So you'll be making...
I'm going to give Sanat advantage.
Okay. So Sanat, there will be magical trickery that will kind of keep... and also confirmed in the chat, it does look like it is downwind for Smelly the baddies. Upwind is when you are not able to be smelled. But yeah, to the point, that's not super important. But Bodhi, that's your skill check. You're done.
Got it.
Could I do acrobatics?
Okay, so acrobatics is for kind of moving down, from a high position. Or
So like if I could like try to get down low and army crawl or slide or...
That'd be stealth still.
That would still be stealth.
Yeah, if you were, again, acrobatics is kind of for falling or moving down in a very fast fashion. That's not normally kind of,
Yeah. Okay.
Or kind of like, doing flips, which again, not good.
Yeah. Yep.
But the first one, if you can think of an interesting way that could be helpful in the situation I've described to you.
Which is the first one? Sorry.
So, I said it's for falling. It's for going
Right.
down. Yeah.
Oh, you mean if I could try to quickly get down by... Is there an edge that I could so that I could get down, like slide down, or
You're almost there. I'm going to help you out just so we have an understanding of how the skill challenge works for
Yep.
future referencing.
Getting the ball and roll.
Acrobatics, you're using your technique to find a path down the hill that is quicker than the path I have outlined. In
Great.
doing so, I will allow you to make an acrobatics check. The DC will be lower than the stealth check and will count as a stealth success.
Okay.
Perfection. So we have 1 success on the docket. We have 2 people who have rolled. Uther went for stealth, and we have 2 successes, 3 rolls. Okay, so we just need Sanat,
Redemption arc, Sanat, do it.
Silas, and Ezekiel.
Can I do the same thing with
I
athletics?
gave him advantage.
Oh,
That was a
that's
20.
So yes, 20 plus 10, more than enough. So we have a total of 3 successes.
Do you need me to roll the deception?
No, deception's not needed. If you're just doing a supplementary skill, it counts as a roll, but is there no roll? I'm sorry, Chody, I cut you off. I just wanted to make sure
My fault.
Sanat's click of a button was punished, but not punished because it succeeded. What would you like to do, Chody?
Can I use my athletics in the same way as acrobatics in a way?
Yeah, basically to get to that high vantage point and make it for a quick climb down, you would need to climb upwards and create a situation where you can lift people up and pull them up onto that hill, then to track down where Nyx has basically found the path. So yeah, go ahead and make an athletics check. The DC is lower, but keep in mind, no
Made it.
worries. But keep in mind, the acrobatics check and the athletics check did not have the benefit of Uther's plus 10. And that's 4 total successes. So Ezekiel, you're just dragged along by everybody else. You make your shortcut down the hill, and you make it into that hex down.
That was the athletics roll. It was carrying Ezekiel.
Yeah. Just
I was gonna say athletics
pick up
as
the
well.
dog and just whoosh. Perfect.
Kicking the dog down the stairs.
I was about to ask about like some sort of nature check or something because the
just
stealth
said-
is like my lowest one.
You just
That's
said,
hilarious.
let's go.
You
But
got a 4 at the end. That's pretty good.
it had a plus 10. It just, you kept rolling really bad. Like, the DC for the stealth check on the harder ones was 17, just so you're aware. So, regardless, you make it past the ruins, down to the base of the hill, and you have no more hexes of movement at this point, I think. 1, 2, 3, and the backtrack subtracted 1 off you. So it's nighttime. Obviously, if there are random counters in the middle of the night, it's probably going to be Displacer Beasts. No D100 roll, they're right fucking there.
They have no idea where we are.
Well, who knows? Maybe they find
We
out.
passed without a trace.
Well, yeah, absolutely. What I will require for determining the camp's like safety and positioning, I would like one of you to go ahead and make a survival check to set up the camp. And I believe that is one of the skill tricks.
I got a +4.
Let's see.
Sounds like a Silas or
Sorry,
a
guys,
Uther.
if I had not swapped spell books, I could have handled this for us. But
Yeah, so this is an established camp.
It's funny.
When taking a short or long rest, you can make a wisdom survival save to establish a campsite for you and up to 5 other creatures. I will determine the DC to establish it in this space. I have. If you succeed, all creatures in this camp get a +5 to their passive perception scores to detect any hostile creatures approaching the camp. And
Jeremy, are you better at that?
My survival's not the best. It's nowhere near as good as my stealth.
I
Is it
got
better
a
than
4.
6.
Go for it, you.
and you can help, so it'll have advantage. If you're trained,
Yeah.
you're trained in it, right, Jody?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, absolutely. So 16. Okay, that will not create a safe camp. So you will not gain the +5 passive perception bonus. It'll just be a regular camp. Okay, and then watches. We're doing the same watch cycle, but now you have an elf who trances. So I just want to make sure that you throw that into the gamut of what you want to do. That definitely does change the dynamic a bit.
Man, remember when we didn't sleep? That was too
It was
easy.
really cool. Yeah, so we're just going to point that elf in a direction, and somebody else will take watch in the other one.
Yeah, because you don't need as many watches because, again,
I'll take a watch. I feel like I've
okay.
earned the chance to
I can
prove
watch this thing
myself.
trance for 4 hours. So.
Yep. So basically, Bodhi will take a watch while you are trancing, but you are also helping with that watch, and then everyone will just sleep. Because once you're done with the trance, you'll just take watches.
I'll do second watch.
Well, yeah, there won't be. I mean, if you want to split your sleep, you can. I mean.
Oh, well, then I'll just do the last one. Whatever one, I'll help.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a second watch.
It'll still fall to a 3-watch cycle, but it'll be just one person doubling up. That makes sense?
Okay.
And during the last watch, you'll have slept enough that you can wake up and start performing tasks that you need to do kind of in the morning. So the watch cycle could change at the end. Sanat could start preparing spells as Nyx gets up to do. No, doesn't do likewise. Neither is Bodhi. They just know their shit. But Silas prepares breakfast. You know, these things can happen in the last watch instead of after the 3-watch cycle. But yeah, 3d20. I don't care who rolls them. Let's see if you get attacked by cats.
I'll take one. A 5. Joseph and Jeremy, why not?
I rolled it. I got a 16.
Okay.
Oh, I saw
9.
During the first watch, this is while Sanat is trancing. Bodhi, you're active. You do hear loud kind of growls and kind of cat roars. And then you hear in response to that what sounds like a bird kind of yelling back. But the bird yell, it almost has like a roar-like quality to it. It's kind of like a hoot, but like a big meaty hoot. And,
I don't like any of this.
Eventually the hooting dies down. And it's kind of stays the fuck over there, a good 200-300 feet away. But
Okay.
yeah, you hear the hootings and the cat screaming. You probably heard cats fighting in the middle of the night, right?
Sure.
Yeah, that's the sound plus the hooting. But then the hooting dies
They
down.
they find a owlbear or something.
You don't know.
Okay.
But
They found something, and that's occupied them. I'm gonna leave it alone.
yeah, if you had to venture
Pass
against
that
it,
information on second watch.
the one thing I can kind of elicit there is whatever was doing the hooting, it lost the fight.
Right.
Okay, so that's first watch. Second watch, Bodhi, you hit the hay, so not you wake up and kind of keep a calm, cool, collected mind of it, watching out. The stars are lighting everything very nicely. You can see the Dargian rift overhead, which is campaign settings version of the Milky Way. Yeah, it's quiet. Nothing happens for the next 2 watches. Everybody wakes up and does their thing. Anything outside of the norm of preparation that I need to be made aware of?
I'll relay what happened with the displacer beast if anybody wants to investigate it, but I doubt we do. I'm guessing they found other game and satisfied themselves there. Otherwise, I got nothing.
I think we should start heading towards the place since, we got that intel a few days ago.
Oh, there's no way we catch him, but yeah, we're going there anyway. We've been headed towards the place. Yeah, no news.
One last d20 roll's already been made, and we already know what it is. As you approach and come to the point where you are heading to the main road of Levidia, it's pretty clear that this is a wide open space with very little to do in the means of cover other than high grass on the northern side. On the southern side of the road, you can see that there are a number of farms. Ezekiel, being a boy that was raised in this region and having had cause to go to the main road for many a reason, you recognize some of these farmhouses. That's old man Williams' farm there, or that's whoever else. What you do recognize is the farms appear to have been in a state of just complete pillaging, they've been torn and taken instead of cultivated and pulled neatly, and the houses are nothing more than burnt out wreckage left over from whatever horrors were committed upon the residents of these homes. You would also note, more Uther because of his keenness on grasslands, that this road is an absolute horribly bad death trap if you're just trying to cross the road. If riders come from the west or riders come from the east, they're going to see you from a good distance out. So even if you're just crossing, you could be caught out by them.
These are Aeonian riders we're inferring?
Perhaps. If you want to engage in any kind of like caution or cautionary measures, it's entirely up to you. But what I'm trying to elicit to Uther is that he would know that leaving the comfort of the high grass will kind of leave you open to being seen from good distances on either side of the road. Basically, we've all been on that highway. We've all been out in the country where it's like a nice flat strip, especially freaking Brent. It's just a nice flat strip of land. There's not
Kentucky
much
has hills.
Not really. Does it? Oh, Kentucky does. What? Oh, it's Kansas that's the flat one, right?
Yeah, way out there.
Sorry, different K-state. Sorry.
We've all seen flat lands, though.
We've all
Yes.
seen flat roads, more specifically. Like you can see all the way to the horizon with the road
Yeah,
on
but
either side.
well, we have to cross eventually. Uther, what do your giant eyes see?
My eagle eyes see
They're
everything
huge.
because there's nothing here to hide behind.
They're absolutely big eyes.
That's actually a really solid point. Go ahead and make a perception check because you are wearing the long eyes. Yeah.
20.
So the thing I was trying to kind of merit is actually going to be something that you'll actually be able to see coming. To the west, you can see that there's dust coming up from the road. It's not to the point where you can see it until you come out of the grass, but you're pretty sure you understand that the dust being kicked up is from horses being rode on the road.
Hooves.
If you'd like to pass, you can, but you would be aware, due to that exceptional perception roll, that you will probably be caught out by whoever those riders are.
We hold out the tall grass until we can identify them.
I don't think they're worth identifying. I think we just need to find alternate means.
Well, you can wait it out and let them pass.
What about nighttime? Yeah, what about nighttime too?
Any idea
Could
on number
also
based on?
ambush them.
What'd you say, Brad? I'm sorry.
I was so we could also ambush them.
Possibly. That's what I was asking. Do we have an idea on number based on how much dust is being kicked up?
If you're setting up an ambush now, that would not be determined. If you're waiting to see them, that's a different story. About 10 or 15 minutes pass. If you don't do anything in that time, Uther, you would see it looks like it's probably about 24 riders. And it looks like they're pulling a carriage with 6 horses of its own. The carriage in question looks like it's dragging a long chain of something. You're not sure what it is, but that seems to be the main source of the dust pickup. Whatever's being dragged behind the carriage. And when I say carriage, I mean like kind of Renaissanceian, kind of like, enclosed kind of carriage.
Covered wagon?
Yeah, well, not wagon. No. Like solid wood frame.
Oh, like an actual
carriage, yeah.
sedan. Okay.
Sedan is a good word, yes. It's jet black from what you can see, and it kind of has like this sleek, almost kind of like a old 50s style car kind of look, kind of like the side wings kind of going up, just very ornate. And
The Batmobile?
so it's
Yes.
Batmobile, like, yeah.
The Renaissance Batmobile.
The Renaissance Batmobile.
Are we going to wait this out, guys?
Makes sense.
You'd see the riders pass by, and you would recognize their tabards and banners flying at their backs as Aeonian riders. These are the elites. You would recognize them as such from their description. The riders in question have 3 primary weapons. They have a flail on their saddle. They have a sword on their hip, and they carry lances that have the long banners that fly after them. They ride forward. carriage appears to be being driven by another Aeonian soldier. The carriage is completely. The windows appear to have. Oh my god, why is my brain not working? Curtains. They got curtains. Can't see inside of the wagon. Or not the wagon, the carriage. My brain's doing it dumb. And then you can see what's behind the carriage. There's a decent thickness chain that is attached to a crow's cage, which has a hook on its bottom, which is attached to another crow's cage, and then a third crow cage, all kind of connected by chains. And they're being dragged across the ground, and inside of those cages you can see what appear to be conglomerate mages. Their robes kind of tattered and torn, not too dissimilar from Bodhi's robes though, in like kind of fashion. And they're basically inside of the cages, kind of like struggling to deal with the dirt kind of blasting in their face and like the rocks kind of flying into the cages. They're being dragged, and they're being dragged sideways. They're not like, like moving. It's horrific for them. They hate it.
We gotta help them.
That's what I was gonna say. We need to save them.
I hope you have a really good plan, because that's 24 versus 6.
25, and whoever
Yeah.
else is in the
Plus a carriage, sedan, whatever.
How far away are they as they're passing?
So it would probably be about 150 feet out from your position in the high grass.
Ah, shit.
And there really isn't much in the way of kind of cover for that 100 feet to the road, because I mean it's similar to kind of castle structure. They'll kind of tear down those fields so that they don't grow well, so that they have a kill zone, or kind of like an operational, like if they're being ambushed, they don't want a place where they could be ambushed.
What time of day is it?
It is bright and early, mid-morning, because you just woke up and started traveling. So I'd say maybe like 9 in the morning.
They're not going to be making camp anytime soon.
No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like they're going full gusto, and if you take another 20 minutes, they'll be past you and about the same distance they were when we started.
So they're all on horseback, and they're dragging these 3 sort of cages, yeah?
The carriage is dragging 3 cages, yep.
The carriage is dragging 3 cages. And then there are
How-
additional riders on horseback.
Lots of additional riders on horseback, yep.
And you said about 25 in total?
24 riders.
24
and
riders.
1 carriage with a person driving it. Nobody knows what's inside the carriage.
Could you use your blip thing that you've been using on us?
They're
To
too
get 'em
far
out of there?
away.
How close do you have to get?
60 feet.
90 feet.
90 feet.
Can we get? How many can you do at once?
2.
I have up to 7 fireballs.
I was thinking if we could get them and possibly run, that might be our best bet.
There's no way we outrun them.
No.
I don't think we save these guys. Unless we feel like we can fight 25 plus fresh riders.
Yeah.
And rescue 3 wounded.
Well, they don't look completely fresh. They do look
But
like
they are very capable
that's right.
soldiers. Plus whatever's in that wagon.
These are their elites. And out of character note, for those of you who are familiar with NPC statistics, it's in line with what a knight would be. Challenge rating 3s.
That's 3 times 25, right?
3 times
Isn't that how that works?
25, correct.
What happened?
I don't think we have 75 levels between us.
Mathematically, that's a pretty
I
good.
think we're around 40.
A challenge rating 3 is something that could be dealt with by 4 characters at the same level. Is the normal presumed mathematics. So
Yeah, this is.
Oh, so we would need 4 level 75 characters to
your
fight
your
this?
group could deal with 4 of them, and it would be considered a normal encounter. You could deal with 8 of them, and that would be considered a deadly encounter.
Yeah. We get it.
But you could definitely, like, there's things that mitigate that. Like Fireball's a pretty good spell if you can keep them close.
Yeah.
How many horses are pulling the carriage?
6 horses pulling the carriage. And they're sturdy-looking horses, all of them. So these would be considered statistically war horses.
What's this carriage made out of again?
The carriage appears to be made out of dark wood, which is kind of ironwood or ancient elvish wood from the time of the One Wood that's like super durable and hard to break. But light.
So it's Bodhi who probably has the most familiarity of what. Well, do we know anything about like the tactics of these riders of Aeonis?
Beating the shit out of mages.
So my question is like, are they going to be tortured and killed?
Probably.
So then we have
Looks
3
like
arrows. We have 3 arrows.
These are prisoners of war that are riding past.
Yeah,
I think this is probably a suicide if we try to.
Well, we
defeat
have
them.
3 arrows that can solve this problem.
That is an idea.
It's not
But
a very
that
nice
might
idea.
that might still attract their attention.
Those are our guys. I'd have a problem with killing them.
I wouldn't, but it'd be a hell of a shot.
It'd be it's a long shot.
Well, they're going to be
I-
tortured. I mean, I think they're going to be tortured and killed. But I guess they have some possible chance of escaping. I don't know. Probably
Anybody
not.
got like 7,000 caltrops on them?
Yeah,
I've got 3 sets of caltrops.
So I will note too, just as a final note to help you with your decision, you are aware that they are being treated in a way that will probably kill them if they ride for much longer anyways. But you do know that there are means to get information out of a dead body, even if they're dead.
He's really goading us, man.
Is that
We
goading?
don't win this fight.
Goading. Well,
Unfortunately, we don't win this fight. We were too late for these guys.
tempting is maybe a better word.
I'm calling it. We're just gonna have to wait it out.
We got Zach saying, and again, I mean, he is kind of been.
I don't want to speak for everybody. I
disagree,
genuinely think
but
we
Silas
would fail
disagrees.
miserably
got
if we
one
try
vote.
to get in there.
1 vote for suicide mission, 1 vote for not. Okay, Ezekiel, thoughts?
I'm also voting for suicidal mission. So it's just
I vote no.
That's 2
No.
for no, 3 for no, and Joseph.
I don't.
The world needs to hear more of my
so
puns.
I couldn't hear Joseph.
I
Sorry.
said I do not believe that we can win this fight.
Okay, that's 4 for no. So
Sorry, boys.
Silas and Ezekiel chomping at the bit. Just want to rush out there and do what they can. By the time you all kind of come to this determination, it's long past the time any efforts would have been beneficial in your attempts, and they are on the road moving past. Okay, so that's the last of the random encounters. At that point, you know that you're pretty clear. Keep, looking left or right, obviously, before crossing. You hop across Frogger style, and you make it to the other side, to the farmlands, which have kind of grown with weeds and are tenable for you to kind of maneuver through the burnt houses, find cover, etc. But you get to a point where you're able to see Renner's Run. And Ezekiel, this is a moment where you're kind of looking at the space. You kind of have a bit of a little bit more hilly area on the southern side of the road, as it kind of gravitates more towards the descent down to the lower portion of the island, or the land rather. You can see it. Everything with the exception of the Rennard Manor House has been sacked completely. There are no people there. People do not live in Rennard's Run any longer. However, there are 3 horses outside stabled of the manor house. Clearly, with
3 horses.
bright yellow markers of Ionian riders upon them.
And we can handle 3. We could beat the hell out of 3.
Spread those dick backs back from the Clockwork Lair area.
They're stabled outside a manor house.
The manor house. In fact, the house that
The
Ezekiel
manor.
was raised in.
Oh,
I'm going to be more than fair on that in our side chat. And do not share these with other people, please. That would just be kind of lame.
You getting a layout?
I'm going to send you the house pictures so you know exactly what they look like.
That's fair.
I walked past it once. Might have died here.
All the floors are lined with newspapers.
But yeah, you would see the 3 horses. They appear to be the only ones in what is left of Renner's Run. All the other buildings look like they've been burned or destroyed in some fashion. I need a little bit more, as I'm getting ready to send those, I need something a bit more somber, obviously. Let's go with... I was tempted to accidentally play something like hilarious, but...
Benny Hill.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get these sent out to you here. As you folks decide what you're wanting to do at run.
These are 3 more war horses by the look of them. They're sturdy, tough animals.
One of them looks like it's greater than a war horse. In fact, Sanat, you would recognize it immediately, and the players besides you will recognize it immediately when I describe what it is, but the characters don't. The creature you see before you is one of the bright red horses of the Summer Elves, specifically known as a Ranahan, which are basically the greatest of horses. They're like unicorns, except that they don't have all the magic stuff that unicorns have. They can't heal people. They're just very...
Closest a horse can be to a unicorn without a
they're smart.
horn taped to it.
They understand people. If they are bound to a rider, they are bound for life. So, yeah.
We might have to put that thing down.
You would also know that
You can put down the rider.
Willowdene has...
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not good.
And it's the only person you can think of that you know has one.
Ezekiel,
The Eternal Rider.
do you have any input about what you'd like us to do?
I just want to go kill them all, honestly.
I would too, Fred.
Yeah.
Do you have any input about how we go about doing that? They're in a home you're familiar with.
Okay, so I'm getting there. I want to give you as much information as you have.
Silas would be very, very up for this. He's really frustrated that we let the others die.
We all are.
Well, they're not dead yet.
Well, no, it's just the ideals. Like, my character's ideals is freedom. Everyone should be free to pursue his or her own livelihood. They weren't. We let them die, so he's pissed right now.
But if you think about it, now you're afraid to not die, and...
Nope. I think he would be very, very frustrated with that. I think he'd be all about honor.
I agree. I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, the enemy is right there. And there's a basement as well. Thank you for being patient, folks.
In a basement.
Are you approaching the manor house, though, and kind of making your way in stealthily to kind of get to the manor house, though? Obviously,
if Ezekiel knows of a way in, I would kind of press him to give us intel.
So,
if there is a way in here that maybe they're not covering, they're not guarding.
There are a number of different doors. It doesn't look like there's anybody like on watch or like keeping current, but like the way you remember it from a year or so ago, like there's the great statue, in the center hall. There's the doors. There's the windows. There's plenty of ways to egress into this space. It's not fortified. It's just a manor house. Your father was kind of a bit of a hunter. The statue in question was kind of something that was left in this space from before. The town kind of built around the house, and the house actually originally kind of served as like a meeting point for extra special important folk. And it's kind of grown around that via your, not your father, sorry, your grandfather.
Yeah, I'd say we could probably. I'd say if we don't want to use the front door, we could use a back door. There's a couple of those. We could go to like the kitchen area. We could bust a window if you really want.
I mean, it says
I'm gonna
house.
go ahead and put mage armor on. Does anybody else need it?
No.
Okay.
So hide.
So,
Yep.
are we advancing on the house? And Brent, since you're kind of aware of the house's entry points, and its kind of means of getting into it, do you want to approach from any specific vector? Like, do you want to walk right in the front door? Do you want to walk in one of the back entrances? And if so, like which entrance? The map that I sent you first is the ground level. The second map is the upper level, and the basement is the last one.
I'd say.
Oh, one last
I'd
note.
say-
Your father acted as sheriff as well for the town. Good note there, which is why the basement has cells inside of it. It's not because it's a kennel, despite Chody's gift.
I'd say honestly, if the party doesn't want to bust in the front door, then I'd say we could go to the. We could sneak around there, the back top right door.
Okay, that staircase there that goes into the back, the kitchen area, the large.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go ahead and place tokens accordingly. So stealth checks will be required. This is more for just kind of seeing if anybody's overly loud. And the other note I want to make sure that we describe is the town as you're moving through it. So it was mentioned that members of Amblevote were kind of brought here to become prisoners. What you realize is that does not appear to be the Aeonians' mentality. And for the military-minded people present, you can understand why. There's probably not much in the way of resources for keeping prisoners. So kind of more drastic things happen. And Ezekiel, for you, that means you see a number of bodies charred, some of them pinned to the walls of their house, kind of left there in the remnants of it. Others look like they've been cut down in the streets and have had time enough to rot. It looks like the slaughter here is maybe a month or so old. So they didn't start out with a mentality of killing everyone, putting everyone to the sword. It seems like this is a more recent development. And burning everything was probably not something you ran away from seeing. Like, your assumption is your father was here and alive. That's less likely now that you're seeing the town in the state that it's in.
I'll pass without traces since we're doing a stealth up.
I'm going to Bardic Inspire Ezekiel.
You'd also see the most drastic of the horrific scenes, and you would note that the people here are a bit fresher in their demise, remembering that the ink problem has been about a month old, so they probably arrived maybe 6 days ago. Looks like people were just thrown into a house, to one specific room, and burned alive. The reason why you can see that this happens to be the case is it's a very large number, larger than you would expect to see in a room of this size, kind of all charred in a pile in this space. It's like they did this intentionally. Very, very horrifically intentionally. Your presumption is that the running water of the town still works, because you can see a couple of points where the plumbing has been broken and it's still dripping decently enough. So your presumption is that that's still the case. Yeah, you make your way to the back end of the house. Did we get the stealth checks? Did anybody get under a 10?
They're
I
all
don't
going to
think
be
we
plus
rolled
10.
them.
Okay, then we're fine. If you, you did say that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Cool. And keeping in mind your spell slots for the day, that's just one of the passive traits, because the other one was from the day before. All right.
They're all in there.
Slime Bodhi, Ezekiel, Silas. Sana. And what month are you on? You said winter?
Correct.
Thank you. And I am moving you onto the map now. And snapping you to the top. Okay, so you come to the back of the house. It is a pretty grand-looking manor house in pristine condition. There are some points where it looks like there's kind of soot staining on the walls, but that's to be expected with all the torch houses put a torch nearby. You can see that the door is closed, and as you kind of move in shadow, it doesn't appear that anybody has kind of raised an alarm or kind of taken to kind of catching you or noting that you exist.
I guess I'll go up and try to open the door.
Okay. The door is unlocked. I'm looking at the wrong map. Okay, here we go. You open it. You can hear, as you kind of open the door, someone go, "Is that you, Josh?"
Nix, that's your move.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
Ezekiel, if you peek inside to the sound of the voice, you can see a woman in kind of pretty simple attire. Look like she is someone who would serve like a servant, not a person you recognize, and probably someone who's not doing it in a willing fashion. But she appears to be kind of right there. And she's not really looking back behind her. She seems to be busy with something at a desk or a counter. She asked, "Is that you, Josh?"
And Nick said, yes, it is.
Okay. You don't. She turns and looks back and sees Ezekiel. She looks scared, and it looks like she's about to scream.
I thought, it's okay. We're here to save you if you're here forcefully.
She screams.
Good answer.
I didn't want to kill her in case she wasn't like here of her free will.
Yeah. Apologies. Let's backtrack. I do want to make sure I did something intentionally, and I didn't explain why I was doing it. So she had an accent. We haven't dealt with many Ionian writers, but what we do know is they do have a regional accent. They are Cockney.
Is it British?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fuck these guys.
I didn't
Kill her.
catch that. I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Sorry, it's something that I want to make sure I make clear. So the transaction.
She says in an Ionian accent.
She says,
"Is that you, Josh?"
If you were to say that, then I would probably try to deceive her by copying the accent.
Or we just kick her
The
ass.
point is the voice that you use isn't Josh's, and there's no way you accidentally land on it. So she knows it's not him and turns to face Ezekiel. Ezekiel then looks at her and says, "Shh, we're here to save everyone." And she's about to scream. So you decide whether your character knows she's of Ionian kind of birthing or not, or if we're not changing anything, we're just going right back to what we're doing. Same sitch.
I would imagine Ezekiel's smart enough of him to know the accent, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I would hit her. Try to kill her or whatever.
So go ahead and make if you're just trying to hit her with like the side of your weapon, it's an improvised weapon attack, just go ahead and make a strength attack. And is your strength modifier 3 or better?
Yeah, it's a 5.
Cool. Go ahead, yep. So you knock her unconscious before she has a chance to scream. She kind of makes a bit of a thud as she hits the counter behind her, but if you don't want to have killed her, she's not dead.
Yeah, I'll knock her out for now.
Okay. Stealth mission yet to be ruined.
Unfail.
Okay, boys, we got this. I say as I'm very unstealthful.
We're moving in.
So you would see that there is ahead of you, and you would know there's a door, there's a head, and there's a small space for clothestry. This room that you've entered into is the servants' quarters. This is where they kind of take breaks, eat, drink, take stock and log stuff. It looks like what she was doing is she was writing down, what she was doing. She was basically notating her hours. Because the man gotta know.
Yeah, I'll continue moving. No one stops me.
If you make your way to the door and open it, inside you come into basically the servants' kind of antechamber, and you would know the door beyond leads to the hall where the statues and kind of hunting trophies that your father was so proud of kind of reside.
Well, before I open the door, I'll move up to it and tell the party to be ready because they might be on the other side of this one. It's the main hall.
Do we hear anything at the door?
No, but as you kind of make your way to the door, you do hear what sounds like footfall above you. And for Ezekiel, being in this house, this is the same kind of footfall you would hear when your father or anybody in your house would kind of move from the loft where he kind of kept his books and such. You would know that that's kind of the northern portion of the house, that big open kind of room there. Kind of moving from that space to the across to the office, which is the westernmost green room there in the top left.
Gotcha.
So you kind of just being familiar with the house and how it creaks and how it moves, you're kind of keyed into someone's leaving the loft and moving across to the office.
At least one person's upstairs. You guys ready?
Okay.
Once everybody says gives a nod of readiness, Ezekiel will open the door.
We're going up some stairs.
Somebody's upstairs. We're not up the stairs yet.
And whoever it is a sturdy fellow, or whichever. They're sturdy. Whoever it is.
Who's going up the stairs first?
If we get there, I'm...
Ezekiel and who else?
We're not at the stairs.
Yeah,
there just is a
going-
person that is.
Oh, I'm
above
sorry.
us.
I thought we were at the bottom of the stairs.
No, we're at a door to a great
We're
hall.
at the bottom.
Got it.
Slowly open the door.
We can just hear footsteps above us.
Correct. When
My
you
bad.
enter into the main hall, you see the statues are intact. Nothing has been damaged. You see the leopard that your father bagged, up on the top there, on its, plinth. There's also another creature that he killed over there in the other corner, and some other statues. You know the statues were brought in, they were somebody in the town's works. You were too young to know or care. But looking at them, Sanat, you would recognize the craftsmanship is kind of very articulate and very keen. And you would note that the statue in the center appears to be kind of indicative of an elvish story, storytelling of how the bright star of the zodiac stole an egg from a green dragon in the beginning of the War of Sword and Serpent. Kind of a story that has to deal with the reasons why the dragons were keen on killing all the elves. Again, that's not the whole of it, but it's just a story that kind of falls in line with a lot of the elvish narratives of that war of yesteryear, thousands of years ago. But yeah, Ezekiel, you know how to get upstairs, but you also know that there are other spaces down here below. And if you were to go upstairs and not clear the first floor, who knows what would happen.
We haven't seen any windows to the outside yet.
Unfortunately not. Yeah, this is a kind of connected chamber. Um, you would know that this direction is how you get, or that direction is how you get out to the front porch.
Just pointing out that they are expecting a Josh, so we could get sandwiched in here.
Yeah, to kind of make sure the bottom is empty.
The door here isn't locked. Do you open it?
Yes, slowly.
Okay. Without looking back, well, let me explain the scene. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the house, as you enter in, this is kind of like a small lounge. There's a billiard table in the center. There are two very, very comfy-looking chairs, and there is a man sitting in one of those chairs, looking at a fireplace. It being a bit chilly outside, so he's kind of keeping warm near the fire. A man in full armor, who appears to be a captain of the elite guard. His sword is sitting next to him on his left side, and it doesn't look like he has a shield. Why would you? If you're wielding a very large sword like he has. And on the table in between the two chairs is a cup. He doesn't look back, and he says, "Good. I need a refill."
Okay. I'll start walking forward.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow him. I'm right behind him.
I'm going to cast Bless.
Okay. So what I would like you to do, Ezekiel.
As Ezekiel's walking, I'm pushing down on his shoulders because Pass Without Trace is on us, so I'm forcing him to make footfalls.
Okay. And what I would like for you to do, Ezekiel, as you're moving towards him, I would like you to just explain in detail how you're going about that. Again, your Pass Without the Trace has been muted. Well, the muting has been stopped. But yeah.
Yeah. Ezekiel, I'm imagining since he's, lived in this house, he knows, where will creak the most.
Yeah.
And so he'll step intentionally on those so he can come off as, a servant who's not been here very long to try to, give the intent that someone is walking up behind him and it wasn't just a door opening.
Okay. I would like for you, because you're taking specific care to try and sound like something you're not, make a deception check.
You have Bardic Inspiration, D8.
With my Cloudburn, I have advantage on deception checks. Heck yeah. So it's a 23.
You are able to get right next to him. And at that point, he looks at the cup and he catches you in the peripheral during the first round of initiative. Uther, as you kind of kept behind him and maintained stealth. Oh, give me a stealth check on that, actually. I think if you roll a 1, I could catch you out. I have a passive evasion.
Well, okay. I have no footfall with the thing, but
I know, but again, it's more sight. Like, you can kind of tell two people are in the room, but
24.
He can't. So since you did move up, that's fine. You will be engaged. And it looks like, Sanat, you kind of moved towards the door with intent to watch the field, right? I'm going to give the two in the room that are adjacent a surprise round on this individual. As he turns to look, his face kind of becomes alarmed, and yeah, he's definitely in the mix. So do you want to start the first round of combat now, since it's just going to be those two, or do you want to wait until next week?
Yeah, give him a taste. Why not?
Let's give him a taste. Let's give him a taste.
Was I able to get a spellcasting off as they were sneaking through the door, or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it would have been on not the fight, though, because it looks like you guys were kind of behind.
It was an enhancement. I was going to cast Bless on the two of them going in, and Silas sticking around behind me.
If you did that before the door was open, then I'm fine with that, because Bless has
that was the plan.
Yep.
Do we have time to prepare for Ica fight? In the way of what I'm saying is, I would like to take one step back when I see them move in and be ready if I see anyone come through the hallway to attack them.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. If you're in a defensive posture for the outside.
Right. That's what I'm saying. From the outside, to where if someone comes down the stairs, I'm going to rush out and kill them.
Oh boy, Chody, you're learning to protect me.
We got Team Silas. They're kind of bottlenecked in the antechamber for the servants. And then we have Team Ezekiel, which is kind of moved in to engage with the captain. Okay? So everybody go ahead and roll initiative. Get them on the board. The only team that will be acting, and it will be Team Ezekiel. I'll go ahead and give Sanat an action since he was engaged. We're splitting the team into two teams. We like it. We're doing it. And initiative.
Big dog, big green.
Yeah. Roll it. Okay, cool. Not that it matters. All right. Well, yeah, his surprise ends, but he's last. So not you go first. You're watching these two move up. You can ready an action to fire after they've done their thing, or you can just go for it. Either way works.
I just want to I'm gonna let them do their thing first, but I'm preparing to cast.
Do you want to move? Do you want to move into the room or stay there at the doorway so you can see if people come from somewhere else?
I'm gonna stay right here.
Cool. Okay, so you're just kind of letting them do their thing. You're not using your action to kind of cast a spell on them. Being defensive, is that fair?
Yeah.
Take the dodge action. We love that. Okay, Silas, you are surprised for this round. You're not engaging in the fight. Uther, you're up. You're right there behind the captain.
You describe the rest of the room to me.
Yeah, sure. So there is a wine rack here. There's a big old bear. Looks like it's been taxidermied up about 10 feet up. There's an elk head. So the ceiling's about 15 feet high in the entire house. Sorry, I forgot to mention that early on. It looks like there are some incense burners kind of over there. Looks like one of them is lit, and the room has a very nice perfume to it. The billiard table looks like there's a nice amount of space underneath it to go under it. It's probably about, billiard tables are about 3 feet high, right?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the chairs, the fern, door on the north side, windows.
The window's open or closed?
Windows are, there's blinds, but they're not fully concealing anything. And outside, you can kind of just see the courtyard that you already saw and a burned house. There's nothing that appears to be kind of present out there.
The window itself is shut, though.
Yes.
He doesn't have fresh air coming in or anything.
The glass is shut. Yeah, the incense is going, right. And the heat. Gotta keep it nice and...
Okay, I'm going to step forward, because he has not seen me yet, right?
You have him surprised for all intents and purposes.
Okay, I'm grabbing his sword.
Okay.
And I'll put Zephyr Strike on myself so I can move without provoking.
Okay.
I'll just take a random swing with his own sword against him.
Okay.
That'd be strength-based, right?
Yep. And you're proficient because you have martial training. That'll bounce off of his pauldron.
He has blessed.
You roll
Add a d4 to that roll. It won't matter.
It misses still.
And
Run away.
It's 5. I'll zip up the wall and across and stand over Sanat.
Okay.
Sword of Damocles style.
Uther done. Nyx surprised during this turn. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel is also blessed.
Bless and Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah.
That's right.
You want to spend those. 15 will miss. That'll still miss. That'll hit.
Yeah. And then swing my second attack.
Uh-huh. That'll hit. So we're looking at 15?
Yep.
And it looks like there's something coming off the top on each. Like he's a heavy armor master. Okay. Ezekiel done. Bodhi during this turn surprise. The champion during this turn surprise. But as he's struck and his sword is taken, he kind of looks over his shoulder and he says, "Ha! Mages." And he raises his hand, and you watch as the sword appears in his hand as it disappears from Uther. And that's where we'll end the session for tonight. Thanks for watching those that did, and we will see you next time.
Fighting a
wasn't a spell,
badass.
it was a